Every company has its secrets and quirks, but Tesla is even more notable because of its incredible factories and how many cars it can produce. Did you know that in 2020, the automotive company produced about 509,737 vehicles? So how are they able to create so many vehicles in a single year? How exactly do they do it when so many other companies can't even get close? AI factory magic. After Tesla bought its automotive factory at a fraction of its original cost of $1 billion for just $42 million, it embarked on a mission to build the most advanced automotive factory in the world. They added top-tier equipment, which includes lots of AI-powered robots. The factory is located in Fremont, California, and sits on land that spans the size of 185 football pitches. That alone is impressive. Elon Musk defines Tesla's Gigafactory as the machine that builds other devices, and this is because of how AI powers it. In 2014, when construction began on the Gigafactory Nevada, it started as an experiment, but now it is a significant identifier of Tesla's success. Elon Musk's Tesla has other gigafactories in the works like GigaTexas, GigaBerlin, and GigaShanghai. And since the GigaNevada, they've gotten better at creating these factories more efficiently. For example, Tesla's AI factory in Nevada took about 2 years to complete the first stage. But Tesla's Shanghai factory took just 10 months. Even the GigaBerlin is said to be built in just 11 months. Perfect production. If you think Tesla is fast now, just wait. With Tesla's vertical integration for battery manufacturing with Panasonic, Tesla's factories will have about 1,000 gigawatt hours. And this would do more to increase Tesla's car production to even greater heights. Plus, Musk plans to make 20 million deliveries by 2030, which may look far-fetched, but it's possible with their constantly increasing efficiency. They aim to get this done by replicating their Gigafactory in other locations. In the factory, car production starts with large-sized coils of aluminum that weigh up to 20,000 pounds. A robot will then raise these machines off the ground and feed the coils into another machine called the blanking machine. This machine then uncoils the aluminum and flattens it. Then, with lasers, it cuts the uncoiled aluminum into flat sheets called blanks. These are transferred by robots from a blanking machine into a giant hydraulic press that stamps the blanks into a required shape, that then form the different parts of the car, like doors, hoods, side panels, and trunks. These are then assembled later to create the chassis of the vehicle. Tesla's factory has about 200 robots of varying sizes and complexities. Some robots on the manufacturing floor, for example, are small, and some have the power to lift a whole car off the ground. Some others carry out delicate tasks, and some work on basic tasks like lifting and moving. Elon Musk's aim with these various types of robots is to maximize automation to the fullest, unlike other companies that use robots just for heavy lifting. It's also worth noting that the majority of Tesla's Gigafactory robots are named after X-Men characters. It's a great way to make AI more interesting. According to Tesla, when they spoke about naming their robots, they said, "Rather than refer to these robots by technical descriptions, we named them after X-Men characters." Xavier stands at the trimline entrance, lifting cars down to the floor from an electrical rail, while Iceman, Wolverine, and Beast do more heavy lifting nearby. Storm and Colossus can be found at the end of the chassis line, and Vulcan and Havoc work as a team to lift cars back onto the rail. To us, these robots are like superheroes, so we figured they deserved superhero names. Once these machines are done shaping the aluminum into individual parts that will make up the car body and chassis, they're then placed on conveyor belts that then go to the human workers, who then inspect them. Once this is done, they're then sent out to be stored in a massive-sized warehouse that's now taken to a body shop, which is assembled by robots. You could say that the entire process is a well-oiled machine. Putting the pieces together. This process starts with the floor of the car. Then the sides of the vehicle are added on. Plus, the front area of the vehicle gets attached. But for Model 3, the process is quite different from this because the majority of the work is done by robots who weld the pieces together. After this process is done, you get a good view of the car's body, and then it's taken by one of those simple programmed robots for heavy lifting, which brings this completed body and puts it into a conveyor belt that then carries it to a painting area. In the painting area, there are specialized robots that pre-paint treatments on the car's body, and after all of these, the vehicle comes out fully painted. At this point, it's almost difficult to imagine just how many stages the car has been through in such a short space of time. The famous assembly line. And this, according to many, is the most tasking part of Tesla's AI production process. This is so because of Elon Musk's publicized goal years back to increase car production to 5,000 units weekly. Musk described it as production hell, and to speed up production, they created a second assembly line in the Fremont parking lot, which was bigger than 2 football fields. Whoever said size doesn't matter hasn't heard of Tesla. Moving on, one thing that has seen Tesla's AI factory leap ahead of the competition was the use of smart carts over the popular conveyor belts. These carry individual robots that carry individual cars and go around the factory as needed. And thanks to the magnetic strips on the factory floor, these smart carts move all by themselves. In the general assembly, robots and humans work together to work on wiring, seat installation, windows, the windscreen, and software programming. One impressive thing about the Tesla robots is how one robot can work on seat installation and then move on to do windows. It goes to show just how much focus the company has put towards efficiency. After all these are done, they carry out a quality test to ensure everything is in tip-top condition. What's more, every single car made in Tesla's factory already has an owner, thanks to their long waiting list. So the entire project has practically already paid for itself. On average, a Tesla vehicle takes just days to be built. Tesla cuts costs and maximizes speed because most of their parts are made under the same roof. For example, the battery packs and the battery modules. Tesla remains an innovative company and is still in the lead in the electric car company space, thanks to their speed and efficiency. So we'll leave you with this question. Do you think another electric car company will dominate Tesla in the future? Or is Elon Musk's plan for EV domination only just beginning? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, welcome to the future. As we advance as a species, there are a lot of things that once seemed impossible even a century ago that are now a reality. It's called evolving. For example, there was a time when most people believed that Earth was flat. Then Eratosthenes came onto the scene and proved that the world is round. So when Isaac Newton discovered gravity in 1687, he set in motion, pun intended, the age of classic mechanics. Putting to good use a few questions, he was able to describe the motion of a ball moving through the air. At the time, it was groundbreaking. But today, quantum mechanics rules the roost. This school of physics deals with the physical realm on the scale of atoms and electrons, thus making many of the equations in classical mechanics useless. With that being said, let's take a look at 3 of the most amazing quantum breakthroughs that are bringing liberation and freedom to the world of science today. We kick things off with a team of Chinese scientists claiming to have constructed a quantum computer that has the ability to perform certain computations almost 100 trillion times faster than the world's most advanced supercomputer. Perhaps this could be the mother of all supercomputers. According to reports, the researchers have constructed the first-ever quantum prototype that is much faster than the current supercomputer. In fact, the research itself was published in Science magazine. The breakthrough sheds light on quantum computational advantage, which is also famously known as quantum supremacy. While the project might still be in its infancy, quantum computing is seen as the potential to radically enhance the power and speed of computers, giving them the ability to simulate much larger systems and make groundbreaking advances in the field of chemistry and physics. But it's become a hotly contested tech race between Chinese researchers and some of the largest US tech corporations such as Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. For example, Google announced in 2019 that it had constructed the first quantum computer that was able to perform a computation in under 200 seconds, which would take the world's fastest supercomputer at least 10,000 years to complete, thereby claiming quantum supremacy. But this new Chinese prototype would be able to process 10 billion times faster than the Google prototype, putting it at the summit of quantum supremacy. Yes, the Chinese government is investing heavily in quantum research. In fact, President Xi Jinping's government is building a national laboratory for quantum information sciences that will reportedly cost $10 billion. Another major quantum breakthrough is from Denmark, specifically the University of Copenhagen. According to reports, researchers from the university have advanced their quantum technology to such a degree that classical computers have no way of keeping up. They've developed a chip that, if invested upon, could be improved and used to construct the quantum simulator of the future. Additionally, these results have been published in Science Advances. According to the results, the researchers have developed a nanochip which is less than 1/10 the thickness of a human hair. The chip will allow them to produce enough stable light particles, known as photons, encoded with quantum information to scale up the technology. And in doing so, they may achieve the desired quantum advantage, a state where a quantum device can solve a given computational task faster than the world's most powerful supercomputer. While the researchers are yet to conduct the actual quantum advantage experiment, the article that they published in Science Advances proves that their chip produces a quantum mechanical resource that could be used to achieve a quantum advantage. To get to this desired state, it requires that one has the ability to control about 50 quantum bits, or quantum qubits, which is the quantum physics equivalent of the binary bits of zeros and ones used in classical computers. Currently, researchers are confident that they will use their photon research to construct a new and more advanced simulator to solve complex biochemical problems that might, for example, be used in the creation of new medicines. That being said, they are confident about taking the next steps for the technology to become a reality. The major advantage of light-based quantum computers is that the technology is already put in place for enhancements to be made. This includes increasing the number of qubits available to advance photonic chips that are used in the telecom industry. A serious challenge, however, in generating photon qubits has got to do with maintaining high quality. This is exactly where the Copenhagen researchers achieved unprecedented success. And lastly, we move on to none other than IBM. According to a groundbreaking study published in Physical Review Research, a group of University of Chicago scientists has announced that they were able to turn IBM's largest quantum computer into a quantum material itself. They programmed the computer in such a manner that it was able to turn into a type of quantum material known as an exciton condensate, whose existence has only recently been proved. Such condensates have been identified for their potential in future technology mainly because they conduct energy with almost zero loss. The reason that this quantum breakthrough is so thrilling is that it gives you a feeling that quantum computers can be used as programmable experiments themselves. This could therefore serve as a workshop for constructing potentially useful quantum materials. Physicists are particularly interested in these types of new physical states, mainly because these discoveries are essential in shaping the development of groundbreaking technology. For example, one particular state called a superconductor forms the basis of MRI machines. Despite the fact that exciton condensates had been predicted half a century ago, it's only recently that scientists have been able to actually make one work in a lab without having to resort to the use of extremely long magnetic fields. However, they still continue to impress scientists because they can transport energy without losing any of it at all along the way, something that no material discovered has been able to do thus far. If scientists can be able to understand them better, they could be the key to creating incredibly energy-efficient materials. For an exciton to condensate, it must be created from a lattice of particles and then cooled down to below -270 degrees Fahrenheit. It's then coaxed to form particle pairs known as excitons. They then make these pairs become entangled. Because of the complexity of this method, scientists have only been able to make excitons condensate a few times. Now enter the quantum computer. IBM makes its quantum computers available for people all over the world to test their algorithms. And so, a duo of students, Leanne Sager and Scott Smart, has come up with a set of algorithms that analyze the Rochester quantum bits as an exciton. This quantum computer works by entangling its bits, so that once a computer becomes active, the entire thing becomes an exciton condensate. This complex study, therefore, demonstrated that quantum computers can be utilized as platforms for analyzing exciton condensates on a more complex level. Processing the ability to program a quantum computer so that it's able to behave like an exciton condensate might prove extremely useful and amazing when you consider the potential of exciton condensates for being used as energy-efficient materials. Aside from that, the ability to program such a complex quantum mechanical state on a computer will be marked as an impressive and groundbreaking scientific advancement. Because quantum computers are relatively new, researchers are still exploring the extent of which we can perform with them. But one thing that scientists have known for quite a while now is that there are certain natural phenomena that are virtually impossible to analyze when using classical computers. And with that being said, which one of these quantum breakthroughs impresses you the most? Let us know in the comments section down below. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, smash that notification button, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, we'll see you in the future. For the past few years, it's almost been impossible to talk about Mars without Elon Musk or SpaceX popping into the conversation. Limited resources on Earth and constantly improving space technology means a move to the Red Planet is looking like a certain eventuality. Elon's plans to nuke and colonize Mars in the next 20 years have been no secret, with everyone across the world eagerly waiting to see how the billionaire investor will carry out this overly ambitious and downright brilliant goal. But not everyone thinks it's a good idea. No walk in the park. Getting to Mars is hard enough. Hell, just leaving the Earth's atmosphere is a monumental achievement in the space industry. So when SpaceX revealed their Falcon Heavy and Spaceship Heavy lift launch vehicles, a crucial part of this complicated equation was partially solved. Once we get to Mars, though, an avalanche of new challenges and dilemmas will arise, so preparing the destination in advance is very necessary. Elon's answer? Terraforming. Or if you like to call it as it is, plain old nuclear bomb drops. If you're like us and the only point of reference you have for planet nuking is from Star Wars, you know when Alderaan was destroyed by the Death Star, you're absolutely wrong. In his own words, Musk simply refers to nuking Mars as a continuous stream of very low fallout nuclear explosions above the atmosphere to create artificial suns. Like our sun, this would not cause Mars to be radioactive. Trickier than it seems. When asked about the risk involved in the process by fans on Twitter, Elon responded saying, "It's not too risky in my opinion, and the process can be adjusted and improved in real time. We essentially need to figure out the most effective way to convert mass into energy, as Mars is slightly too far away from this solar system's fusion reactor, the Sun." It's worth noting, however, that nuking isn't necessarily the only option here. Interested academics and scholars have also involved themselves into the thought process on how to warm the freezing planet. Redirecting comets or using thousands of solar reflective satellites are also options that are currently being explored. Hold your horses. From the title of this video, you might have realized that Elon Musk and SpaceX have a very vocal party opposing the idea to nuke Mars. None other than NASA. The goal behind terraforming is to release carbon dioxide gas trapped under the Martian surface to thicken the atmosphere and act as a blanket to warm the planet. But according to a new NASA-sponsored study, Mars's surface does not retain enough carbon dioxide that could practically be put back into the atmosphere to warm the inhospitable planet. Changing the desolate Martian landscape into a place humans can explore without life support is simply impossible with the technology we have today. According to NASA, the current atmosphere on Mars consists mostly of carbon dioxide, which is too thin and cold to support liquid water, the key component of life. The gases that would be released from Mars's surface will increase the temperature to a point where liquid water will be stable rather than instantly turning to ice. The pressure of Mars's atmosphere is less than 1% of the pressure of Earth's atmosphere. This means that even if the planet's temperature was stable enough to support liquid water, said water would quickly evaporate or freeze owing to the immense difference in atmospheric pressure. This is why thickening the atmosphere is just as important as raising the temperature on Mars, both of which can be accomplished by successfully terraforming the planet. But is there another way? A less explosive alternative. Many studies have been done on terraforming over the years, but recent scientific observations of Mars by NASA has brought new game-changing information to the table. New information has been provided on the abundance of easily vaporized materials, or volatiles, the history of volatiles like carbon dioxide on the planet, and the loss of gas from Mars's atmosphere to space. Using data from NASA's Mars Odyssey and Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, researchers analyzed the distribution of carbon-bearing minerals and the occurrence of carbon dioxide in the red planet's polar ice caps. Unfortunately, the results aren't very optimistic. It turns out that there's not enough carbon dioxide remaining on Mars to provide substantial greenhouse warming, and this is inclusive of the gases beneath the surface were they to be released into the atmosphere. A carbon conundrum. An interesting fact about Mars is that there is a lot of water, albeit in ice form, which can be used to create water vapor. But this is negated by studies showing that water cannot provide substantial warming on its own. Without having a significant warming by carbon dioxide, which is scarce on Mars to say the least, the temperature will not allow enough water to exist as vapor, let alone liquid. Some experts have proposed introduction of chlorofluorocarbons or other fluorine-based compounds in an effort to raise the atmospheric pressure. But that theory is foiled since these gases are short-lived and would require an expansive manufacturing plant. Definitely not a short-term idea. The intellectual race to terraform Mars has quickly turned into a race for carbon, what scientists now believe is the missing piece to the red planet's puzzle. How and where we can find enough carbon on Mars to raise that atmospheric pressure to a level we'd be comfortable with. Mars's atmospheric pressure is staggeringly low, at around 0.6% of Earth's. Researchers at NASA estimate that Mars needs a carbon dioxide pressure similar to Earth's total atmospheric pressure in order to raise temperatures enough to support stable liquid water. The pressure is on. Right now, carbon dioxide is to Mars what Bitcoin is to Earth, of immense value and in high demand. The most obtainable deposits of carbon dioxide on Mars can be found in the polar ice caps and vaporized by solar radiation or using explosives. This would straight up double Mars's atmospheric pressure, but unfortunately, 1.2% of Earth's atmospheric pressure would still be a long way from habitable. This means researchers will have to find and exploit multiple sources of carbon dioxide on the planet if we're to have the slightest chance at interplanetary survival. The soil on Mars has been identified as another source of carbon dioxide. According to scientists, heating the soil to release the gas will contribute up to 4% of the needed atmospheric pressure. Mineral deposits under the surface are another direct source of carbon dioxide, but not a very reliable one on its own, with the most conceivable deposit estimated to yield less than 5% of the required pressure. Getting to all of these deposits is going to be very labor-intensive though, with even the shallowest deposits requiring extensive strip mining. A matter of time. As much as the brilliant minds at NASA may oppose Elon Musk's idea to nuke Mars, they share the same sentiment and overall goal: to one day inhabit Mars and start a new chapter in humanity's book. The future has never looked brighter, with interplanetary voyages and a human settlement on Mars scheduled in the next few years. Boy, we're getting giddy just thinking about it. What are your thoughts on humanity's venture to Mars? Are you in support of Elon Musk's idea to nuke the planet? When do you think you or someone you know will be on the next flight to Mars? Let us know all this and more down in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for all the latest tech news and updates. Until next time, welcome to the future.